What's up, action takers, the community of doers? I hope you're doing well. Episode 4, week 4, 52 weeks. Here we come. That's our first milestone. I'm very excited and inspired this day. I'm still building on the foundation of the course that we are taking. Remember, our course is to prove that success principles actually work. Now, building on that foundation, today I want us to talk about something that is very, very, very important. And that is intentionality and taking intentional action. Now, what do we mean by intentionality? Let me read you the definition of intentionality, or for that matter, intentional. Let me start by that. Intentional refers to something done with purpose, deliberation, and awareness. Something done with purpose, deliberation, and awareness. Now, before I go deep into intentionality and taking intentional action, I would like to request you to kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel. This will allow us to reach far more people and create one of the biggest and the most remarkable community in Eastern Central Africa that embraces personal development. I've been looking at the statistic of personal development around this region, and it's so unfortunate that Africans, we are not big on personal development in terms of creating the content and also consuming the content. I'm not saying that there are no people who are not doing that, but I think we can do better because this brings an advancement or a more elaborate, developed society. Now, let's continue. Before I continue, let me again give you the definition of intentionality. I gave you intentional, being intentional. Now, let's see. What is intentionality? Intentionality involves clarity of purpose, focus, mindfulness, ensuring that actions are not merely reactive, impulsive, but rather guided by thoughtful considerations of desired outcome and values. In essence, being intentional means acting with intention, awareness, and direction to achieve desired results. Now, I think my two description or definition of those two words have formed the foundation of the whole of this episode. When you listen to those two definitions, I think that's all you need for this episode. Because what I speak moving forward just informs what I've mentioned in those two statements. And it's all about being deliberate and acting with awareness. I don't want to dilute those two definitions because I think they have really put it into perspective and into context, the meaning of intentionality and being intentional. Now, why do I think that being intentional is very important for the journey or for the course that we are taking? The reason I think is because that we have to do what we do, being aware of the outcome that we want from the definition. Now, there is nothing like accidental achievement. For you to be successful or for you to achieve something, you have to decide that you want to achieve that thing. You will never achieve something accidentally. If you have to go to the top, you can't go to the top accidentally. Going up the mountain is intentional. One, because there are going to be challenges, there are going to be setbacks, you're gonna need to sacrifice. So all these things, for them to come into play, they can't be done without being aware. Because how are you going to be able to overcome all the challenges without being aware in the first place that you're gonna encounter those challenges? Now, the reason why people are discouraged in life, to some extent, is not even because of what discouraged them, or the reason people sometimes in life, things happen to them and they feel discouraged. Sometimes is not what happens that discourages them. Is the fact that they did not see, or they did not see that discouragement coming their way in the first place. But when you are intentional in your action and in your objective that you want to be able to achieve, you are going to know that in this pursuit, I'm going to encounter challenges of a certain nature. And you are going to prepare yourself to actually be able to overcome those challenges. It doesn't mean that sometimes you're not going to be knocked down. No. Being intentional means that you are going to be relentless, that you're going to come back even after the setbacks. I want to look at some areas where intentionality is so much applicable in our day-to-day lives. Remember, my fundamental message to you that is going to be for all my time, or my foundational message, is to reduce the gap between information and execution. So I want to show you the actionable steps on how you can apply intentionality in our day-to-day lives. Now, to begin with, let's look at relationships. How do we apply intentionality in our relationships? We have different types of relationships in our lives. We have family relationships, brothers, sisters, mother, father. We have partners, we have friends, we have workmates, we have leadership versus people who are being led, or groups or teams. It is important for us to apply intentionality in all those aspects. I don't want to delve so much deep, but of the actions you can take is making sure that you explore points of synergy in those relationships. What do I mean by that? I mean synergy in the aspect of, let your relationship with the people that you are relating to be a win-win situation. Make sure that you're adding value to their lives, and also making sure that they are adding value into your life. It is important for you to be able to be very specific on what is it in for me in any relationship. And the reason why most people find themselves not exploring that question is the fact that probably you yourself, there is nothing that you can think of that you can bring on the table. If there is nothing that you can bring on the table, it's going to be difficult for you to try to explore what you can get from the other person. Because remember, I'm saying it's a win-win. So by the time you're exploring what you're getting from that person, you have to be also be clear about what you're bringing to that person. And that's why personal development is very important. Because if you develop yourself, therefore, you're going to have something that the other person can benefit from. And that is going to give you an opportunity to also demand something we call in relationship reciprocity. Now, you are an average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. That goes with no say that you have to be very, very cautious about the people that you associate with. People say that if you are around 5 millionaires, you're probably the 6th. And I agree to that statement to a very, very, very high extent. Because if you're a group of people who are actually excelling and they want somebody to refer a person either to another client or something, you are going to be the person who is going to be coming up, most probably. But let me go through this a different way. I would think the most important aspect I would look at when I say you are an average of the 5 people you spend of your most of your time with, I would try to marry that aspect or to join that aspect with the fact that only allow quality people in your life. Only allow quality people in your life. And how do you allow quality people in your life? Is by you yourself becoming a high value quality person. Let me use an analogy that I know most of you are going to relate to. Let's say that you are a company. You yourself, actually you are a company in the first place, but let me just say you are a company. And let me use we have a 7-star hotel and a 2-star hotel. In those two aspects, where do you need more credential for you to work? Is it in a 7-star hotel or in a 2-star hotel? Of course, definitely, you're gonna need a lot of qualifications and credentials to work in a 7-star hotel. Why? Because it is a high value hotel. In a 2-star, probably it's only a high school certificate. But in a 7-star hotel, probably you need a hospitality degree or something. So the higher value, the higher credentials, or the higher qualifications that you need. Now, if you are to take yourself, would you call yourself a 7-star hotel or would you call yourself a 2-star hotel? That's a question I'm posing to you. So you can build yourself from the 2-star to the 7-star. And the more you create your own personal value, the more you are going to require people to meet certain credential or certain qualification for them to come into your life. Some people find themselves allowing anyone into their life. Anyone can come into their life. Come and go, they come and go. Why? Because you are of no value. So people need no qualifications to be in your life. Why? Because you are low value. So build your own value. The more you build your value, the more you will require people to have certain qualifications for them to be in your life. It goes back to being intentional. Be intentional at a personal level for your personal development. Build your value to a point that you need people to meet certain qualifications for them to be in your life. The next aspect of life that you need to be intentional with on a daily basis, very consistently and very intentional, is on personal development. You will never rise beyond the quality of your thoughts. The things that you fear becomes the limitations of your life. Build your value intentionally and you will grow. But not until you can see it in your mind by building your value in an intentional way that you're gonna rise beyond certain aspects. So most of the times we find ourselves putting limits to our own selves. And one of the biggest way people put limits to themselves, it's by making sure, or it's by not building their value. If you want to increase your earning capacity, just build your value. Just ask yourself, what value are you bringing to the marketplace? If you want to increase the quality of friends that you have, build your value. High value people relate to high valued people. I can use probably even a cliche that you've heard for the longest time, that birds of the same feather flocks together. Some of these things looks like very cliches, but they actually apply in our day-to-day lives, either consciously or unconsciously. Now, the other thing that we need to be intentional with is our health. Your health is your biggest investment. I can't say this better. I cannot even sit here to try and explain how health is very, very important. That is something that we just know, but I have to mention it. Watch what you eat, what you drink, what you do, exercise once in a while. Just take care of yourself intentionally. Know what you eat, what are you consuming? That's public information. But we might find ourselves losing that aspect of intentionality in terms of looking at our own health. Another aspect is our finances. I'm not an expert in this. I will not sit here and tell you I'm an expert, but this is some of the things that now we are going to be having professionals and people who have done beyond the norm sit down with and learn from them. We need to be intentional with our finances. You cannot say that one day you want to be rich or you want to be financially free, depending on what word you use, and you're not even intentional on your own finances. How much do you make a month? How much are your expenditure? Have you written it down? That's what intentional is all about. You have to work it out in a spreadsheet. I know it's as extreme as that, but until you get to that point, personally, I struggled with this. For me to be able to connect with you and show you how much I care, I can even give you my life experiences. You have to rethink your relationship with money by becoming intentional on both sides. Some people know how much they are paid, but they don't know how much their expenditures are. You have to control both your in and your outlet. A subject that I want a professional to sit down with us in this platform. For me, for now, is just to put it out there that we need the intentionality. By the intentionality, I mean seeking the information for you to know what to do with your finances. So, what are the actionable steps do you take? First of all, understand what's your income. Then, what's your expense? That's the most primary thing to do. Even before you think about savings, investing, first know how do you spend your money. Write it down. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't write it down, forget financial freedom. Because you have to be intentional. And it's only those people who are radical enough in the changes that they want that are going to obtain those changes. Lastly, work and career. We need to be intentional with how we spend our time by doing our jobs and our works. I think the aspect of being intentional with our work would be so much informed by what is the kind of career do you want to? What's your end goal in your working place where you're working right now? What do you want to achieve in the long run in the career that you're taking? Are you passionate about what you're doing in the first place? Because there is a very, very big relationship between excelling in a career and being passionate about that career. If you're passionate about it, you're going to endure a lot of setbacks in your pursuit to excel in that career. I'm going to pose a challenge to you, and this is the challenge I'm going to pose to you. Are you going to get to the top % in your career? It takes a minimum of 5 years to be at the top % of your career. If you're passionate enough, you can make that decision today. That in the next 5 years, I'm going to be at the top professionals in this career. And how do you do that? Actionable step. First is to start by knowledge and building your value in that career. Knowledge is the first one. Research has proven, if you read a book about your career every month for the next 5 years, you are going to be among the topmost people in your career. Proven. That's a fact. The other thing that I think is going to put you at an advantage is creating strategic relationships. As you move along, create strategic relationships within the domains of the industry that you're operating in. Because you cannot underscore the importance of having strategic relationships, people who you can collaborate, and also people who understands your value, your work ethic, and they can be able to expose to you to opportunities in the coming future. Thank you very much. I really appreciate. And what I leave with you in this episode is to start the journey, or to continue, if you're already in that journey, of being intentional and taking inventory of your awareness of what is happening around your life, and taking the action on a day-to-day basis with the consistency and the resilience of intentionality. Thank you very much. Always show up for your life, for you to see that progress and the development that you want. See you on the next one.